This is the Ted Wallachin Podcast. Brought to you by Tom's Place. For the finest in men's clothing at unbeatable prices, it's Tom's Place at 190 Baldwin in the heart of Kensington Market. Tom's Place will suit you. And Halenda's, the meat people. Enjoy their award-winning products at selected Metro, Sobeys, Fortino's, and Foodland locations. Halenda's, the way sausage should taste. And now here's Ted with chef and TV personality Lynn Crawford.
Gemini Award-winning television host, author of numerous best-selling cookbooks, including Hearth and Home, Cook, Share, and Celebrate Family Style, which she co-authored with her partner, Laura Kirk. She has appeared on Iron Chef America, against Bobby Flay of all people, Restaurant Makeover, Pitch It In, Junior Chef Showdown, The Great Canadian Cookbook, Top Chef, and once again, a judge on Food Network's Wall of Chefs. She is also the owner of the restaurant Hearth at Pearson Airport. Lynn Crawford, how are you?
So good, Ted, and wonderful to see you. Be listening and enjoying your program. So thanks for having me.
It is my distinct pleasure. Every time I turn on my television, I see you're doing something. And you know what? And I was thinking to myself, here you are. You get to see all these different potential chefs at different levels. Like you're doing Junior Chef Showdown. You're dealing with kids like on 9-10 years of age. And then you're doing Wall of Chefs now. And you're dealing with adults, some of whom really literally could be professional chefs. How do you compare the level of excitement judging one versus the other?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you that it doesn't matter what age, if you have this love and passion for cooking, you are going to shine in these two different shows. These young junior chefs have so much talent and expertise. And the young cooks, there's in the competition of the show of what that is, it's so different from the adults, I really think, because the kids are like, it's okay, you can do it. If there's a little stumble or if there's a little glitch that comes about. And, the adults, of course, they take it very, very seriously, but they're home cooks, but competition, I think, is a little bit escalated with the adults. Maybe just the kids are a little bit more naive at that age. But you know what? Again, to me, it's just the passion that these young cooks and the home cooks have. And they're excited. They really, they want to get in there and cook with lots of heart and go for it. And you know what a pleasure, what a gift it is for me to be, part of those two shows.
Well, the great thing about working with the young kids is because not only are you judging, but you're there as a mentor as well. And I sit back and I watch and I think that, wait a minute, there's got to be like a group of adults in the background making this food and giving it to the little kids. Because how can these kids possibly do this, something as complex as this? And then I think to myself, no, Ted, you're thinking back when you were 9 and you could barely tie up your shoes.
All right. Well, these young kids, I think it's a different time, isn't it? I think about, my experiences cooking. I wasn't cooking, a pan-seared fillet of fish with a hollandaise sauce or, making bread from scratch or, knowing about all the different array of sauces to complement a dish. Like these kids are just so knowledgeable. And it's like, food is so, important in all of our lives, and the creativity and just the multicultural elements to our society now, where we're able to enjoy so many different cuisines. And it's exciting, isn't it? It's not, listen, like I remember going to, my grandparents lived in St. Catharines. And as a kid, that's like the belt, right? The, Niagara, the fruits and the vegetables. And I remember going to, my grandmother's, and it was a can of peas and a can of potatoes from the cupboard, it's like everything, there's a more of a heightened awareness about what where your food comes from, getting the best, sourcing local, and cooking with it. Like it's a different time.
Well, I was just going to say that your food philosophy is locally grown, harvested, and raised. And I was going to ask you where this comes from, but I can see because you've got farming in your history, in your background, in your family.
Yeah, well, I mean, having the opportunity as a young kid to have those experiences. I mean, my father worked for Jordan Wines in Niagara way back in the day. And, just being surrounded in the community where, winemaking was just at the very start of its journey, right? And, all of the greenhouses and farms connected in that region. Like I just visited that area every weekend. So I really loved it. And I mean, going to the local fruit, stands or the veg markets and farmers markets, on the side of the road, we loved that as kids. And that's where we got excited, I think about just, taking ingredients home and cooking with those things. My father loved to cook. And during the fall harvest, it was the beets and the pickling and canning that we did as a kid with my father was exceptional. Like he taught me so much. And, that love of food was there in the very simplistic, sort of level. And just watching these kids now, just to seeing what they have available to them. I mean, there's the internet and there's, their curriculum in their classrooms includes, learning where your food comes from and cooking and enjoying. And then our experiences on a day-to-day of going out and then celebrating, or having a great, dinner out with friends and family. Well, little pause in the last couple of years, but you know what I mean? But there's lots of great restaurants and great chefs, and the Food Network has played a huge role in just education and great programming to, showcase the wonderful world of food.
Well, I talked to the people at George Brown College, which is where you studied, who'll tell you now the enrollment in the food and hospitality courses right now is like 10 times what it was 10, 15 years ago. You went there, but it's nuts now. I mean, it's amazing the amount of people who are taking those courses.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I was at the campus when I attended George Brown. It was in Kensington Market, and my mom worked at OCA, Ontario College of Art, for 25, 30 years. And because she, every school break, every, March break or summer vacation, we would spend it at the college and we would go to Kensington Market. So I was really, when I knew that the cooking program was being, taught at Kensington, I was like, wow, this is great, because it was surrounded by all of these great markets, which you didn't get in the suburbs. So we had that, we had that sort of connection there. And then, the enrollment when I was attending, I was one woman in 10, gentlemen that were attending the culinary program. So, I mean, but the numbers were, you're right. It was, I think maybe it was 100, 120 people at that time per, semester going through the program. So yeah, it's changed for sure.
Well, there's all these culinary academies now that are offering courses for young kids, the kind of kids that you mentor and that you judge on Junior Chef Showdown, and starting with things like how to properly use, sharpen, and use knives. I mean, they got kids coming in at 6 years of age, you're starting to properly utilize the tools that are available to them in the kitchen. Something that although a lot of kids grew up, my age grew up helping mom in the kitchen, not to that extent.
Right. But again, I think that it's just different times as well. Like I remember, my mother had the same vegetable peeler for like 40 years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like the tools, the variety of, those tools that a chef can acquire for their kitchen. I mean, it's huge, right? It's endless. Like, you know, what do you need? You need a really good set of knives, a good knife, a good paring knife, a good chef's knife, a peeler. But hey, listen, did you ever hear about a microplane, you know, a rasp, you know, 25 years ago? No, you didn't.
No,
but wow, it's a genius piece of equipment that is going to make you better in the kitchen. And I think that that's what it is. And these young chefs that are learning the skills to allow them to be better in the kitchen, I mean, that's awesome. That's great. It's the best skill set that you could give a kid, a child, is to give them the skills of being able to navigate themselves in the kitchen and to cook. Because if you're a good cook, you're going to have lots of friends.
Yeah, true enough. Well, it's interesting. Just the whole role of education has changed so much. I'm talking with the Chef Lynn Crawford over the years to the point now we're pushing things more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. We're pushing home economics like they used to, and it stopped. And pushing trades. You know, teaching people how to do your own plumbing, a little bit of electricity stuff around the house to be able to hang paintings on the wall and, you know, fix and clean up your toaster or whatever it may be. We're doing those practical things. We're teaching them practical aspects of life that we sort of ignored for a big chunk there.
Well, I think that, you know, cooking, I think when I spoke to my parents about, hey, you know, I want to pursue the opportunity to go to college to become a chef, they were just, what? What are you talking about? And just not knowing that there was a career in it. Like it was a legit positive career move. Yeah. And I loved cooking. And it was really, when I was at the University of Guelph, there's a hospitality and food program there. And a lot of my peers were in that program. I was doing fine art. But, you know, all of my friends at the time were you know, in this HAFA program. And they were the ones that really shined the spotlight on, you know, there is a career path in food and cooking, and you should really think about it. And it was George Brown that really then took it to the next level. But it's not, my parents didn't know that you could be a successful executive chef running a 5-star hotel in Manhattan, you know, in charge of a $70 million food and beverage revenue, you know, like that was like how, what, you know, it was like cooking. And I think that that's kind of, you know, how things have changed, people's perception of what it is to be a chef. I mean, maybe 30 years ago, you know, you thought about cooking was like going to the local diner or going to somewhere really super high end, which was only, you know, a special occasion, you know, dinner where it was a steak and Caesar salad tossed at this, you know, at your table. Like there's such a wide range now of different food avenues.
Ted and Lynn will continue right after this.
Hi, it's Ted Wallishin for Tom's Place, where the month of February is all about hearts and family. Tom's late father, William Mahalik, was born February 20th, 1916, and he founded the original store back in 1958, believing in the importance of caring for your customers and giving them the best deals. These strong values carry on today at Tom's Place, so in honor of his father and the family business he created, Tom is celebrating with a Family Day sale with great deals like selected 100% wool suits that retail for up to $7.95 on sale for, get this, 3 for $9.50. Or Libsyn shirts on final clearance, winter coats 50% off, and beautiful cashmere scarves regularly $99, now just 3 for $50. It's all about family at Tom's Place. And at Tom's Place, everyone is treated like part of the family. The Tom's Place Family Day sale all month long in Kensington Market. Hey, let me take a moment to tell you about my friends at Helenda's. They are the meat people. You know, I've been a fan of their products for years now, and without a doubt, they make some of the best sausage in Ontario. They are multiple award winners, having captured the Ontario's Finest Meat Competition's coveted Award of Excellence on 3 occasions, in addition to dozens of individual product awards. Helenda's has also received the Grand Champion ribbon at the past 2 Royal Winter Fair's ready-to-eat meat snack competitions. So whether you're preparing a charcuterie board or a full-blown sit-down dinner for your friends or family, you'll find Halenda's award-winning products at fine meat shops throughout the province, now including selected Metro, Sobeys, Fortino's, and Foodland stores, along with their 7 Halenda's locations. Their barbecued kielbasa is my favorite. On a fresh bun with horseradish, it is out of this world. But don't just take my word for it. Judge for yourself. On your barbecue, in your kitchen, or straight from the refrigerator. Halenda's, the way sausage should taste.
And now back to Ted and Lynn Crawford.
You talk about being an executive chef at a high-end hotel. You did that at the Four Seasons Hotel, both here in Toronto and in New York City. When I read that, I was thinking to myself, how different were those two jobs? I mean, it's the exact same hotel chain. Yeah. It's the same job. You're executive chef. But New York, Toronto, what differences did you sense there?
Oh my gosh, when I think about my hotel days, a lot of people don't know that my career with the Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, it spanned 24 years. I worked at 5 different properties and 7 postings. And I had the honor of working with so many incredibly talented, passionate, chefs and hoteliers. And the one thing that was common or was the same was that Four Seasons, it didn't matter which Four Seasons you were at, Ted. It was like Four Seasons Toronto or New York. It was 5-star. And it was always about people first and that creating that positive environment and giving your guests the most excellent experience. And that really was a lesson that I learned very, very early. And I adopted because I care, and surrounding yourself with the best of the best and giving your clients the best of the best, giving them the best of the best is what it's all about. And, I think that that's probably what's fueled me all of these years is to know that, it's all or nothing.
And you took that knowledge with you when you embarked in the restaurant industry yourself. First, you opened up Ruby Watch Co. And then Hearth at Pearson Airport, and Hearth is still around. Ruby Watch Co. closed, but many people thought it was due to the pandemic, but it was a personal decision, right?
Yes, that's true. We had Ruby Watch Co. for 10 years. My wife Laura and I, Laura Kirk, and we decided that it was a really great chapter, and that we have 2 small girls, Addie, who's now 5, and Gemma, who is 3, and we wanted to sort of get back to what's important was family and raising the kids. So moving out of Toronto, we moved outside of Peterborough, and we're on 100 acres.
Wow.
And close to a family, and that's what it is, Ted. So I mean, it was, life is about many different chapters. So, Four Seasons, huge chapter. Ruby Watch Co, amazing chapter. This is a different chapter. So, we're closing Ruby Watch Co was bittersweet, kind of crazy timing, perfect timing, if you will. It's hard out there for restaurants, and my heart goes out to, all of these chefs and restaurateurs that are they're constantly, day after day, week after week, now month after month, and now year after year, are trying to navigate through this bloody pandemic. And it's hard, man. Wow.
Yeah, no.
My hats go off to them. And, and yes, the communities, we have all been, very supportive and doing our part, but they're exhausted, Ted. It's hard.
Yeah. I feel sorry for them. I absolutely am with you 100% on that. Chef Lynn Crawford is my guest. She's also a chef, not only a chef television host, but also a judge, one of the judges on Wall of Chefs, which can be seen on Monday nights. You know what I loved about that show? The fact that it's broken into 3 different segments, I believe. One of them is something called the Chef's Fridge, where each week a different chef opens up their fridge, figuratively speaking, to say, these are the key ingredients in my fridge. And your fridge is Parmigiano Reggiano, maple syrup, and spinach.
Yeah, spinach is so good for you. Those leafy greens.
Yeah. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting combination. How would you mix the three of them together? And then as you started explaining, and I love maple syrup, that maple syrup is not just for pancakes. It's got a million uses.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is the, when you think about Canadian ingredients, what's top on the list? Maple syrup. Yeah. And it's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. It's magical. It really is magical. Great for all your sweet preparations, breakfast, brunch, cocktails for sure. Different vinaigrettes, glazes for savory, it goes on and on. It's so versatile.
And Parmigiano Reggiano, which you call the best cheese in the world.
Did I say it was the best cheese? It was probably the best cheese that day. I love cheese, but yes, Parmigiano Reggiano is top on my list of faves. And it's this magical, versatile cheese that has so much taste and pow and bam. And then you go talking about, how you're going to, elevate your dishes. Just, do a little bit of Parmesan snow on top of your salad or your pasta or your roast. Put it in a sauce, put it in a vinaigrette. It's awesome.
How much experimenting do you do on a daily or a weekly basis as a chef, either at home or at your restaurant or wherever you happen to be? Are you constantly looking for, well, what if we do this and mix this with this and try this with that? Yeah,
it's funny. Like 5 minutes before we, came on to speak with you today, we're always cooking. Laura and I are always cooking. We have this amazing kitchen that we just renovated, and we're in there every day. Yeah. We've got another sourdough starter that we're starting right up, and we did some confit garlic, which I put in just a pan for lunch. We did confit garlic, a little bit of olive oil, mashed the confit garlic out with some salt, just a bit of salt, and then a nice chiffonade of kale and some cauliflower, and toss that together and put in a mittful of quinoa. And I'm telling you, it was awesome. So experimenting, that's like, Laura and I are constantly creating, and we're actually going to be working on 2, not 1, but 2 new cookbooks. So that's pretty exciting. We'll tell you more about those later. So we're just scripting out some really fun recipes and ideas. So it's always pretty creative.
I would imagine that the chefs, like scientists, run into the same situation, a similar situation occasionally, whereby you're trying for one thing and inadvertently it becomes something else. Like, for example, the wonder pill Viagra was discovered by accident. It was supposed to be for circulation, for a heart medication, and it turned out to be something other than just that.
Well, it's we have in our pantry and in our refrigerator the Chef Lynn, Chef Laura sort of key ingredients that we know we work with. We always have the garlic confit I spoke about. There's a date tamarind puree in there. There is, lemon, a lemon puree, a citrus puree that we use. We always have a pesto. Like these little sort of chef tips to boost the sort of the dishes that you're cooking. They're always in our fridge, but you're constantly, as a chef, you're looking for combinations and food ingredients that really will mesh well and just elevate, taste. And, there's so many incredible different cuisines, ingredients out there that it's kind of endless. You can get kind of lost in the flavor, the flavors.
Have you picked up any ideas, any secret little recipes from any of the home cooks that have been on Wall Chefs?
Hey, these the chefs, yeah. There's a lot of episodes we've just started, but I know, having watched the episodes, I think we've gone through 4 weeks already. But 4 competitors, 4 competitors, 4 weeks. times 3 dishes. Like, what's the math of that? I mean, there's so many creative dishes, and we haven't had a lot of repetition at all. But the influences of those home cooks, it's family. It's where they've traveled. It's, a lot of them had dishes that, the chefs on the wall had inspired them. So it's really genius. Like, it's really great of them to come up with these ideas. And yes, you're always inspired. You're always inspired by seeing tricks or tips or preparations, techniques that the home cooks are doing. I mean, that's what I enjoy most about being on the wall. It's like, we're constantly learning.
That's a great thing about life, too. The older you get, the wiser you get, because the older you get, the more you've learned.
There you go. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a bit of pleasure chatting with you, as it always is, Lynn. I wish you nothing but the best. And again, you can see Lynn every Monday night. She's one of the judges on Wall of Chefs on Monday evenings on the Food Network. And she's got about 1 million cookbooks and 300,000 television shows that she's done. You can find her all over the place. If you can't find Lynn Crawford, then you're not looking. That's all there is to it.
Ted, thanks so much for this great chat. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Take care of yourself.
You too. Thanks.
The Ted Wallacham Podcast has been brought to you by Tom's Place. For the finest in men's clothing at unbeatable prices, it's Tom's Place at 190 Baldwin in the heart of Kensington Market. Tom's Place will suit you. And Helenda's, the meat people. Enjoy their award-winning products at selected Metro, Sobeys, Fortino's, and Foodland locations. Helenda's, the way sausage should taste. The Ted Wallacham Podcast is produced by Joey Roselli. Technical production by Paul Gatt. Music by Bike Thieves. I'm Becky Coles. Submit your questions and comments to ted@twmedia.ca.